Let's get to the broader budget. You heard Jack Lew there say that they have $2.50 of spending reductions for every tax increase. And the White House and Democrats have really targeted your plan to reform Medicare, this what you call premium support. They say it's a voucher system. I want to show right here the ad put out the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee saying just when you thought Medicare was safe, they are back. They're saying that your plan is going to end Medicare as we know it. Are you concerned that this attack, and we've heard Republicans pick it up as well, could end up costing your House majority?
No, I'm really not concerned about that, actually, George, because we're taking responsibility for dealing with the drivers of our debt. You have to remember, George, that Medicare is going bankrupt, that the president's health care law puts a board of 15 unaccountable bureaucrats in charge of cutting Medicare, which will lead to denied care for seniors. The president's health care law takes $500 billion from Medicare to spend on Obamacare. And so I think when you actually look at what we're proposing, we're showing that there's a bipartisan consensus in Congress on how to preserve the Medicare guarantee, how to save and strengthen the program. We don't change any benefit for anybody 55 and above, and we save this guarantee for younger generations so they can actually count on it. So when the dust settles and people see actually what we're doing, how we're promoting bipartisan solutions, I think we're going to be fine.
In response to
I think it's irresponsible not to.
In response to some of the criticism, you have also come up with a new plan with Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat, to allow people to have the choice of either taking the premium support program or sticking with traditional Medicare. Will that be part of your new budget?
Well, we haven't written the budget yet. That comes out in spring. But what we're showing is that there are bipartisan leaders in Congress who have worked together just like they did in the 1990s when it was called Bro-Frist at that time. Alice Rivlin's been a champion of this idea. And Ron Wyden and I are working on a plan to save and strengthen the program to keep the Medicare guarantee for current and future seniors. And what we're showing is that there's a consensus on how best to save Medicare. Unfortunately, the president and his party leaders, they're not a part of this conversation. That, to me, is very disappointing.
Coming into this week, Congress has hit a new low, 10% in the Gallup poll. That's lower than Richard Nixon's popularity during Watergate. You're part of the House leadership. Do you accept responsibility for that, and how can you fix it?
Well, there's nowhere to go but up, I guess. But what I really would say is people will realize that there's a difference between the House and the Senate. The House is controlled by Republicans. Last year, we passed a budget to save and strengthen Medicare and Social Security, to pay off our debt, to grow our economy. We passed 30 bills aimed at growing the economy that are sitting in the Senate. We passed 4 budget process reform bills to strengthen the way we account for taxpayer money. The Senate has done nothing. The Senate, against current law, has not passed a budget in 2010, in 2011, and now Senator Reid says he's not even going to budget again in 2012. We will, because the law says we will need to, but we also think we have a moral obligation to try and fix this country's big problems before they get out of our control. And so there's a very big difference between all the action to deal with our country's big problems in the House and just the total inaction by the Senate. And I think that, generally speaking, people are looking at what's coming out of all of Congress, which is nothing. But when they look at what we're actually doing, the House is acting and the Senate is sitting on their hands playing partisan politics.
Congressman Ryan, thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.